Hey guys, how we doing? It's Jazzvinder. Just gave you that long intro from a brilliant Sarod player named Rajiv Taranath with Uttam Chakraborty on tabla. So if this is not familiar music to you, then sorry. But I think Indian classical music is just exquisite, and I'm happy to share it with you. So, what do we got here? We got a new podcast, clearly. Welcome to the Mindset Hacker podcast with your host, the Mindset Hacker, Jazzvinder. Jazz for short. So, what do we got? We got 5 things you can do when you are just having the worst day of your life. The worst. You're just not feeling good. You are stuck. You are down in the dumps. You are immobilized. You are just, I think you get the picture. So I got 5 things for you, okay? I'm going to try to just keep this, I got to keep this inside of 15 minutes. So bear with me. Got to move fast, and I let Rajiv take a lot of time coming up in the beginning, but God, he's beautiful. I mean, he just plays so well. I'm going to let it run in the background, actually, because he's just, God, so good. So, again, my philosophy of coaching is that I just don't really care about what works when things are already working. That doesn't correct things, you know. You give someone plenty of vitamins, more vitamins. That's great. I want to know what will heal somebody when nothing else is working. I want to know what's going to move you forward on your worst day. I want to know what you can tell yourself that's believable when your self-image is not really on track. There's plenty of motivational stuff out there that'll take you from a good mood to a great mood. I want to know what's going to take you from a shitty mood to a little bit better of a mood, because you can work with that. You can get back in the game again. I want to get you back out in the game, get you off the sidelines and onto the court again. That's what I care about. So, number 1, the Nickelback factor. Okay? I'm a musician. A lot of my clients are musicians. And you run into this thing where you feel like you're not going to make it. You feel like you're not good enough. You feel like you don't have what it takes. So my question for you is, well, you're better than Nickelback, right? Of course. You're like axiomatically better than Nickelback. It's my new favorite word, axiomatically. You're better than Nickelback. You know this. You're more talented. You know, you're just a better person. You're not putting like the shittiest music in the world out there onto the airwaves. Well, think about it. Nickelback is financially independent, and everybody hates Nickelback. Nickelback is sort of the quintessence of the band that just sucks. And I don't like to be so negative and talk badly about people and say, oh, this person sucks, that person sucks. Unless we're talking about Donald Trump or something. But this is the point, is you realize that you think your flaws are going to cost you all of the opportunities and horizons and cost you your destiny in life, actually. And realize that people who are much more flawed than you actually have achieved a level of success that you would be perfectly happy with, that would actually solve just about any problem you can think of today. Think about that. People who are worse than you, you know this. You know that people who are worse than you have what you want to have and are doing the things that you want to be doing. So whatever's wrong with you isn't enough to stop you, because worse flaws weren't enough to stop those people. I think that's believable, and I think that's true. That's the Nickelback factor. Number 2 is the infant principle. So I'm a father. I have a 4-year-old daughter. I remember when she was a baby, and it was a lot of work having a baby, but it was also, it was immensely instructive, because I got to see with my own eyes the way babies learn. Babies can only learn by making mistakes. Babies can't learn by instruction. You cannot instruct a baby to walk. You can't even teach a baby to walk. There's nothing you can do. The baby doesn't understand that kind of communication. They see you walking on your two legs. They realize they have legs too. They wonder, why can't I walk like he or she is walking? And they just try. And they make mistakes, and they fall down, and they keep making them over and over and over again. And what happens is they don't really have any kind of emotional reaction to the fact that they've made a mistake, the way that you and I do. We make mistakes and we think this proves that we're incapable. It proves that we're never going to make it. Babies make mistakes, and their emotional level of frustration and being upset and crying is really just the frustration of not getting what they want. It's not a frustration about who they are. They're frustrated at the obstacle. They're frustrated at the limit of their competency, and they don't accept it. They just keep hammering away at the limits of their capabilities until they finally realize what's not working, and they eliminate it. And by process of elimination, what's left over is what works. They discontinue everything that appears to not be working the second they realize, oh, that's what's stopping me, is I'm moving my legs like this, or I'm not balancing right, and they just cut that out. That's how babies progress. Be like a baby. That's the infant principle. Number 3, keep it actionable. Okay? Keep it actionable. The next time you're out of the house, go to a gas station or a 7-Eleven or a stationery store or a grocery store, supermarket. These places are all going to have these 3-inch by 5-inch note cards. They're blank on one side. They've got lines on the other. You're going to write down on the blank side with a big Sharpie the name of whatever you're working on, whatever your project is. Write it down. On the other side of the page with the lines, you're going to pull that card out when you get stuck in that area, when you go backwards in that area. You're trying to eat healthy. You say In-N-Out Burger. You're like, In-N-Out Burger tasted great, but here I am trying to not eat that kind of food right now. So what you do is you just go, okay, you take out that card which just says eat healthy. You take out the card and you go, okay, I'm feeling off my eat healthy game. What can I do? Maybe it's take a jog in 2 hours. Maybe it's have a super light dinner. Maybe it's drink a glass of warm water with an entire lemon squeezed into it before bed, because that will compensate for a lot of the calories, and it'll kind of reactivate your metabolism, and you'll wake up with better energy and kind of get back on your game tomorrow. But the point is, you can find something you can do to get you back in that experience and that sensation of the lost momentum. You got to reclaim that momentum. And it's not about, see, we're building on our points here, right? It's not about emotionalizing mistakes. It's about analyzing mistakes. Don't emotionalize them, analyze them. Say, okay, I did something that feels like it's going in the opposite direction from where I want to go. So what is one thing I can do right now? What's one thing I can identify right now that represents one step back in the direction I've committed to going? You can always find what that is. And even if that one thing is ask for help, that's enough. You've got to go for the smallest thing that you can do. Don't go for the big things. Go for the littlest things, because you just want to get that momentum going again. Don't go big. Go small. Go doable, because that's a game you can win. That's a game where you're positioned for success. Your odds of nailing the smallest step are extremely high. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that sensation of going in the right direction again. So that's number 3. Keep it actionable. Step number 4 is the method of willful catharsis. Method of willful catharsis, what that means is that instead of trying to shift your way out of negative emotions, instead of even trying to sit with negative emotions, because that for me is a little too passive, doesn't really do it for me. I don't even really know what that means, or just sit. It's not active enough. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm sitting with it. Am I letting it in? What am I doing? I'm just sitting? I don't get it. I'm sort of more of an Aries. I'm more of a go, go, go kind of guy. So for me, and if sitting with it works for you, great. Sit with it all day long. If what I'm saying doesn't resonate and you've got better methods, use those methods. My methods are for people for whom these regular things you're used to hearing, like sit with it, they don't work for you. So I'm telling you what works for me, and if we're alike, then my methods are going to work for you. Great, I'm here for you, right? Because this is what helped me. So there you go. Willful catharsis is to dive in. It's to exaggerate the emotion. It's to take it and crank it up so that you can go through it fully, not halfway. You'll know that you've gone through it fully if you deliberately get involved and crank it up, right? So if I'm feeling sad, well, I'm going to go find the saddest song I can, right? I'm going to go pull up the chaconne from the Bach D minor partita for solo violin. How's that for being high society? But it's just, it's so just painfully grief-stricken, right? But you've got your go-tos. I mean, if you're missing a guy or a girl, go pull up Mazzy Star, Fade Into You. Go cry it out. I'm serious. If I'm feeling angsty or aggro, I'm going to go find Slayer, NWA, Ice Cube, right? Maybe AC/DC. Just depends on the mood. But you see what I'm saying, right? I'm going to take that emotion and I'm going to max it out. Because what happens is the messenger knows that the message has been heard, has been delivered, has been received, has been processed, has been embraced. And then just watch how quickly it dissipates. Watch how quickly you are in a place of equanimity and that you can see new ways ahead of you to pursue. Because an emotion is like a ringing phone. The happy emotions call and it's halfway through the first ring and you've already picked up. You know? The happiness calls and you go, yeah, what are you up to? What's going on? What are you doing tonight? The bad emotions call and you just let them go to voicemail and you don't listen to the voicemail and you wonder why, and you don't call them back and you wonder why they keep calling. You see what I'm saying? Get in there, crank it up, exaggerate it. Method number 5, see the continuum. See the continuum. See life as process. Life is a process. How do you do that? Think back. Take the situation you're in now and look for an earlier similar situation. And place where you're at now in the proper continuum of the before, during, and after of that situation. Because you're immobilized because you think that this bad scenario is endowed with an unnatural permanence. You think you're always going to be in the shitty place you're in right now, which is why you don't know what to do. It's why you feel paralyzed and stuck and, powerless, and you're not doing anything about it because you think that you're just stuck. And if it's permanent, what is the use of taking any action? Legitimately, right? Like if you're going to be there forever, life sentence with no parole, you're not going to keep trying to get out, right? So realize that it is impermanent. Realize that you've been in a similar situation before and that every bad day you've ever had is now behind you. Realize that you've survived every single bad day you've ever had. But let's suppose, because like I said, this is the method for rock bottom. This is the method for your worst days or your bad days. This is not the method for your average bump in the road. That's what I'm focused on here. So let's suppose your situation really is worse than anything you've ever been through in your life. Because that's possible, right? It would be naive, and I think it'd be insulting of me to say that, no, you'll get through this just like everything else. Maybe this one really is different. Maybe this one really is tougher for all kinds of reasons. I'm not going to discount that. I hear you. I see you. Well, where you are now in your life, you are only more experienced. You only know yourself better. You've only had more mistakes in the past to learn from. You've only had more victories to give you confidence. You're only more established in who you are, more discerning, capable of subtler distinctions now. So thank God, thank goodness, that this situation didn't happen when you had less discernment, less distinctions, less wisdom, less life experience, less patience, less perspective. Be grateful that it's only happening now, because right now you are at your highest level of preparation to deal with this than you ever have been. That's amazing. So guys, thank you for your time. My name is Jasvinder. This is the Mindset Hacker Podcast. Share it around, share the love, and we'll talk again soon.